What's up guys, SpartanCat, and in today's BattleCats video, I will be ranking which units are overrated, underrated, and rated fairly, so let's get right into it. Just before I do though, I want to say I'm not ranking every single unit in the game. I'm going to be picking through some of them, and if this video does well, I'll make a part 2. Also, if there's units I don't rank that you want covered in my next potential video, please make sure to comment down below so I know what you guys want to see. Alright, so the tiers go from significantly overrated to significantly underrated, and it goes in order, so just about all the units are on this list. I'm going to start with some of the more controversial units. So we have our first two right here. They're basic units. They're both pretty good, but the community, everyone uses different units. So I'm going to say that the normal Mohawk, I'm going to say that he is fairly rated. He definitely has a role in the game. He's an important unit, especially in early and middle game before you have any crazy units. But I still use him, and I would describe him as a good meat shield. Nothing more than good, but nothing bad about him at all for what he does. And then next we have Wallcat, and this is, out of these two, definitely the more controversial. So Crazed Wallcat is great. Everyone loves Crazed, but we all forget to talk about the normal Wallcat a bit. And I'm not saying he's underrated. I think he's one of the greatest in the game. We get caught up with Kyobi. We have a lot of good units. We have that relic, the relic cat dressed up in a suit. Forgot his name, but he's really good. The anti-relic meat shield. We have a lot of good meat shields. I'm gonna put him in fairly rated, just because I feel he has a lot of respect and he's earned a lot of respect. I wouldn't say he's too overrated because he does what his expectations hold him up to. And moving on from him, there's a lot of units here. As I said, I'm not going to do all of them, but I'm going to pick and choose between some of them. Dancer Cat. So, Dancer Cat, out of all the purchasable specials, we often hear a lot about him. He's in a lot of 4-star strategies. And I think throughout the first half of the game, maybe first third, I'd say first third, you could probably start him in most of your lineups. And you could use him throughout Stories of Legend and 4-star stages, which is good. He has a true form, and you could talent him, and when you talent him, he gains a lot of abilities. So that's also a good part about him. But I was looking at his raw stats today, and they were not that powerful, even at level 50, which is what I have him at. You could talent him, and that helps a lot. But I'm gonna say that he is slightly overrated, and he's not bad, but he's not good. Even when you fully talent him, he can only do so much. And I know he has Surge. The Surge is good. You can give him 20% health and damage boost too with the talents, which is good. But it's a big investment to make him usable. Moving on from him, we have Dark Laser, and Dark Laser in the first half, you could say rips apart red and black enemies because the high DPS, the high attack rate, and the spammability. So you could almost consider a Kasa Jizo like unit, super spammable and deals a lot of damage. He definitely falls. He or she, I think she definitely falls off in the middle to late game because eventually, when units have hundreds of thousands, sometimes millions of health, stacking them isn't always viable, especially when you might have Kasa Jizo or something. So I'm gonna say Dark Laser is very good for beginners, but once you get to that, I don't want to say the middle of the game. I want to say maybe when you start getting to the harder Stories of Legend bosses, I would say once you get to maybe Mina or Musashi, at that point, that's where the tide starts turning for Dark Laser. But Dark Laser, I would say, is a fairly rated, and it's a decently reliable unit, especially if you don't have Castages or maybe Crazed Whale or Crazed Island. If you don't have all these other options, then Dark Laser can be the right unit for you, especially with the talents and everything, and get her to level 50, and you'll get a powerhouse in terms of damage, but you don't get a lot else. Sumo Cat. So, Sumo Cat is part of Cool Japan, which is a popular cat combo. So that automatically, a lot of people have bought him. I have not bought him on my account. Actually, did I? No, I didn't. So I never bought Sumo Cat. I never really felt the need to. But in the beginning of the game, he's one of the best meat shields you'll have. You're definitely not going to have anything crazy in the beginning of the game. And even when you have Pogo Cat until you get into Jiangxi, even he's not that good. So you're going to want Sumo Cat in that beginning if you don't have all these other options or strong Ubers, especially when you feel you have to play more defensively without all these strong units. So I feel for those players who need to win with, spamming units and chipping over time. You're going to need a meat shield for that type of strategy. And a combination of that with Cool Japan, I'm going to say he is slightly overrated, though. It's made out to be like he's one of the best meat shields in the game, and especially less experienced players. They're going to be watching guys, they're going to see him, they're going to want to buy him, and he's not going to fully live up to their expectations once they send him out in a one-shots him, and you're all of a sudden spending twice the price on him as you would a Wallcat. So there's definitely a time and a place for Sumo Cat, especially in 4-star stages too. So in 4-star stages, I think, that gives him a whole new usage. But in terms of regular usage, him and Dancer are overrated right now. A lot better in 4-star though. Going on to the next one I'm going to rank, we have Maneko, who, this might just be for fun. I think she's perfectly rated. She's awful. Let's see. Right here, Jiangxi Cat. There are some juicy ones I want to get through. So, with Jiangxi Cat, I think he's great. He's almost always in my starting lineup. Even when it's when you have a lot of expensive units in your loadout and the stage doesn't drop a lot of money, he has enough attack power where if they send a peon out here and there, he'll be able to kill it. He can compete against some peons, so that's a plus. So a combination of stacking him, his guaranteed survival in his true form. So when you stack 20 of them, when you have 20 of them in your front line, they'll do a good amount of damage, believe it or not. They'll each do easily a few thousand hits if you have it true form. So a few thousand damage per hit times 20 rapid fires, pretty good DPS from your meat shields. So that's something people don't talk about a lot in my opinion. But the guaranteed survival and the fact that he's 60 cents cheaper than Sumo Cat is impressive to me. I'm gonna say he's fairly rated. The Battlecast community, most people tend to use him or like him. I think he's good. He's almost always in my starting loadout. So I'm gonna leave him there. Next, we have Valkyrie. This is true form Valkyrie, but I'm just going to talk about Valkyrie in general. So, pre-true form Valkyrie, you might use her more because you're not going to have as many Ubers or whatever. You're not going to have Bahamut Cat when you first get her. So, she'll get more usage time there. But when you get her true form, she becomes less useful because you'll have better units by then. But in 4-star stages, she could be a viable medium range crowd controller type unit. Despite her unconventional speed, she could be useful. She also has a 40% chance for a 2-second freeze, so that helps. You land that, it's a nice little added bonus. Valkyrie really does get trashed on by the Battlecast community, and I think there's some reason behind that because her overall stats are pretty weak, and for the price she is, which is almost an uber high price, she doesn't have uber stats, so in her first couple forms, she's definitely mediocre stat-wise. Her true form gives her a little bit more, still below average. Her redeeming factor is 4-star stages. So I'm going to say the Battlecats community has rated her correctly. I'm going to say she's fairly rated. She's mediocre, but if you're going to use her in 4-star stages or you're in the beginning of the game, it's a different story. I want to try to do some of the more rare cats. Alright, so we got Can right here. And Can is a powerhouse. Almost anyone in middle to late game can tell you how good he is. He does start running into problems with relic enemies though because they do so much damage. You can't get shots off. Even stronger traded enemies will present a problem to him Um, I love him. He's almost always in my lineup. Once again, also the Battlecats community has rated him well. I would say he's fairly rated. He's definitely an A or a B tier. I'd push for A. I mean, I think he's good. He's in a lot of people's lineups, even in the middle or late game. If only we could use him in 4-star stages, though, am I right? All right. Next, we have Awaken Muhammad Cat over here. I'll get to Balrog after that. Awaken Muhammad Cat, another powerhouse, but in some stages he's useless because he'll run himself to death and he won't get shots hit off. But in most situations, he's good for chipping bosses or killing them even because he has that much power. In fact, he has the second highest DBS in the game, only behind a fully talented Balrog, which I'll rank next. But that should speak volume. You're also forgetting he has area attack and a recoil, so every time he gets knocked back, he instantly attacks again. So, in terms of what he's supposed to do, which is a kamikaze blitz rusher, he does a great job at it. And I'm going to say he's fairly rated. His first and second form, most people don't use them, but if that's all you have for a long range nuker, it's better than nothing. So I'm going to say he's fairly rated. And that brings me to my next unit, which will be Balrog, wherever he is. I know I just saw him somewhere. There he is. I moved up a spot. So Balrog, before true form, he's okay. If you need some sort of a damage, you don't have his true form, he might still help you. But once you get him to his true form, start leveling up higher, fully talent him. You need to fully talent him, especially for the later in the game you get. You need level 40, 50 even. You should have all of his attack and damage, especially his attack up talent. Those are all crucial to him becoming one of the best boss destroyers in the game. So bring in your cat cannon, bring in your wave attackers. You want the IO cleared for him. You want him to deal damage. And fun story. So I was just being a stage the other day. It was a relic stage. There was a bun and everything, and I had a CPU on, and I was just gonna stack my Matama, my Chronos, and it wasn't cutting it. And then when I went in with the CPU, it started buying Balrogs, and I thought it was crazy because I thought my Balrog was gonna get destroyed by the relic bun. But guess what? It didn't happen like that. The Balrog, every time it sent it out, absolutely destroyed it. And after about 3 or 4 of them, the bun was gone, and we won the stage. But you know, in that sense, he was underrated for me. I'm gonna say he's rated well. Some players think he's bad for some reason. Some players think he's the best Uber in the game, and he's not. But he's a very good unit, great unit. Um, Depends where and why and how you use him. Some stages he's just not the play. If they send a bunch of, if they're sending a bunch of peons out, he's not going to work well. But if it's a low enemy count stage or something, or just a boss that gets sent out early, cash in the beginning, send him out. He's great. It's all context. I'll rank a few more of them. I want to rank the ones I put on the thumbnail. So let me find Kasa Jizo, and then I want to find Crazed Wall. So there's Crazed Wall. Crazed Wall, in my opinion, has become one of the best meat shields in the game. He's been one of the greatest, but in terms of general meat shield, no special abilities or anything, for just being a generalist meat shield, he's one of the best. People, I'm pretty sure they're going to agree with me if I put him in well rated, just because he does everything he's supposed to do. Let me find Kasa Jizo. We got a bunch of those pineapple apple pen guys from a decade ago. I didn't play back then, but sure seemed like a fun event. Ooh, Express Cat, I might want to rank him, but I want to find Kasa Jizo. This is a list of every unit in the game, so bear with me. Oh, let me try to find them. I feel like this list wouldn't be completed without him. If I can't find them, I can't find them, but I'll look. I don't know if I can find them, but I'll look through. I'll rank one or two more. Cameraman. So cameraman, he's a very solid anti-floating unit. He's strong against them, and he can survive lethal shots. So he can come back and use his 1 health and land another shot or two, and then die of it. He holds his niche well, in my opinion. Did I just lose him too? Alright, next time I cannot be using a list this large because it's almost impossible to find units. Where'd I throw him? Ah, there he is. A little under the weather too, but no big deal. Just gotta make the content. So I'm gonna slowly move him up. There he is. Alright. I feel like the Battlecast community makes him out to be some sort of a god. And although he's good, especially in 4-star, he's great there because you don't get many anti-floating options. Part of me wants to say he's overrated just because of how high of a stature he has, but at the same time, he deserves a lot of that. So I'm going to put him in well-deserving. By the Battlecast community, I'm going off of what I believe most people would think. Obviously, I want you guys to tell me if you agree or disagree, but I'll cover one more. Hopefully I can find Kasa Jizo because I don't want to clickbait the audience. If I look really carefully. But anyways, as I'm looking, make sure to comment down your favorite Uber and tell me why, or if you have them. Any crazy stories like that, make sure to comment those down below. Man, I just keep scrolling. I can't take me anywhere. I'm gonna keep looking for them. If I can find them, that'd be great. Oh, there's Mechabun. Hey, Mechabun. Is Kronos. Songcut. He's pretty fairly rated. This is almost impossible to do. Alright. Sorry, Kasa Jizo. You're gonna have to wait for another video. But I will rank one more unit. This might be my longest video ever. Alright, I'll rank one more unit. And that one unit will be... Let's see. I'll rank Ice Cap. So Ice Cap, she gets a bad rep, and I don't blame people for giving her a bad rep because she doesn't do her job 100% well. Her true form is an improvement, but it's still not great. She does have crowd control. She has a bit of range. She has a bit of tankiness. So if you really need a unit to freeze red, she could be your option, but I don't know. I think she's well rated by the Battlecast community as a below average unit who has a good niche, but the below averageness kind of drags her down. But these are my rankings. So I'm sure someone's going to disagree, and I'm 100% fine with that. And if you agree or disagree, please make sure to tell me down below in the comment section. If you enjoyed the video, please make sure to like, subscribe, and turn notifications on so you never miss an upload. SpartanCat signing off. See you on the next one. We're not going to hit the 20-minute mark, but that's fine. See you guys.